You know, it's days like these, after shows like that, that make me even question why I bother sometimes. I'm very, very disappointed in both shows this week. Let me start out with a quick apology for not being here yesterday. As you could probably still hear, I'm kind of fighting a cold. Wasn't feeling very well yesterday. Not that there was much to even talk about as far as it goes with Raw. And the same holds true for SmackDown. Last night's show was atrocious. It was hard to even watch. It hurt my brain. And it's times like these when I wonder to myself, why am I a wrestling fan? Like, why do I still put myself through this? Why do I watch this stuff when they obviously don't care? They give us these mishmashed shows that are all lined up wrong, and the order feels wrong, and every time we finally get to a wrestling match, we go to commercial. We go to fucking commercial. And we get a 4-minute commercial break, and we come back and see the end of the match. We always get to see everybody come out. They do the entrance, they go to commercial, we come back, and then we see the finish. We don't get to see any of the wrestling. On both Raw and SmackDown. More so for Raw. There were 3 matches on Raw that a combined total time came to about 4 minutes. That was the Nia Jax versus nobody, that girl whose name escapes me at the moment, and I apologize for that, but it just didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was that she was a friend of Alicia Fox, and as soon as they said that, I already knew that that's where they were going. Alicia Fox is going to be Nia Jax's first real opponent. That's not a nobody. That's somebody in the women's division. But it's not going to matter, because she's probably going to squash her too, as they're not giving her any time to wrestle. It's just foolish. 3 matches, a total of 4 minutes. Bo Dallas's return, where he won in like 38 seconds. Braun Strowman's match was a minute and a half with Sin Cara, tops maybe 2 minutes, and then you had the Nia Jax match, 1 minute, minute and a half tops. It's getting ridiculous. They're doing this week after week after week, and it's just not doing it for me. It's time to move these stories along. Nia Jax needs some real opponents. Braun Strowman needs some real opponents. And then they go on to do the same thing on SmackDown. What the hell was the whole segment? Why do we gotta watch Fandango dancing with some tattooed trailer park trash, and then for her to make him look stupid and walk out on him, only to have Kane come out and chokeslam him? Now, I'm from the old days, and I have respect for Kane, and there's a place for Kane, but that's not it. I'm tired of this. He comes out, he chokeslammed Fandango, you just squashed Fandango again. He's building up this whole thing. Where was Tyler Breeze? They had the girl dance to his music, so that leads me to believe that they're still a tag team, but Fandango's out by himself. Is Breeze injured too? What the hell's going on? I don't understand what that whole segment was for. Was that to get Kane on TV? For what? We don't need Kane on TV. Where was Baron Corbin? Because that's where they're obviously going to go. They're giving us Kane back on TV, so when Baron Corbin fights Kane, we feel like it means something. It doesn't mean anything anymore, because Kane does nothing. Kane doesn't wrestle anymore. Kane's like 40-something years old. It's more than obvious that Baron Corbin's going to beat him, and if he doesn't, it's just more bad writing. It's time to start putting the new era to work. It shouldn't just be a tagline. It shouldn't just be a new slogan for the company, but we're going to run everything exactly the same. It needs to feel like the new era. It doesn't feel like it at all. All I feel is
boring.
That's all it is. It's just
boring.
It's terrible. I can't deal with it. And it makes me wonder why I even watch it. Which is one of the reasons why I want to make this film that I've been working on. It's going to be about wrestling fans, and the big question I want to answer is why. Because when I look at it myself, I can't understand why I sit down and watch this stuff, and it aggravates me and it boils my blood, because they're not giving me what I'm used to getting as a wrestling fan, and yet I'm going to sit down and watch Backlash on Sunday. I'm going to sit there and I'm always going to hope and pray for a good show. And I'm going to sit there Monday night, and I'm going to sit there Tuesday night, and it's just a repeated cycle. And then I sit here, and I get to talk to you guys now, and be all mad about it. And I don't want to be mad. I want to come out here and almost be like a spokesperson for the WWE. Like maybe this could be an audition of sorts, or maybe I can get my voice heard, and maybe I can even become part of the company. Like I don't want to be the guy that's just here to shit on the WWE constantly, because I do love wrestling. I love it so much. I watch New Japan, I watch TNA. If there's wrestling, I'm gonna watch it. Doesn't matter who it is. It could be two nobodies in a bingo hall out of nowhere. You know, when I used to live in Pennsylvania, we used to get a lot of local TV, and there was a lot of local promotions out there that used to just have this real, gritty, old school kind of ECW feel to it, because the production values were low, but the wrestling was great. These were young kids that were hungry. These were guys that I've seen back then. Guys like Dolph Ziggler before he was Dolph Ziggler. Guys like Dean Ambrose before he was Dean Ambrose, when he was Johnny Moxley. I seen him wrestle in FCW. I used to get that when I lived in Pennsylvania. The point being that I watch wrestling. I watch wrestling constantly. Wherever I could find it, it's on my TV, it's on my laptop, it's on my phone, it's on my Xbox, my PS4, WWE Network, YouTube, wherever I could find it. I'm watching it, I'm absorbing it, I'm taking it in. So I know good wrestling, and this is not it. They're not giving it to us at all. They're not building towards things. I mean, there's a little bit more, there's a little bit of building going on now, and Raw has a little bit more flexibility because they have more time, because Backlash is happening now. But now, I believe the Raw pay-per-view is like 2 weeks from that. 2 weeks from this Sunday. It's before the end of September, which means we're not even going to get a full month's worth of build. But they did at least start to do something. We know now that Sasha Banks is back. She trolled everybody on Twitter, made everybody all, oh my god, Sasha Banks is going to retire. She wasn't going to retire. I knew the minute I seen it that the bad news was for Charlotte. I didn't get all upset about it. I just waited for Monday night to see that it would be true, and it was. And Sasha Banks came out and confirmed that she was okay and that she's coming for the belt. Probably the best thing that happened on Raw the whole night. I mean, I could watch Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn wrestle anywhere, anytime, and it's always going to be a good match. I mean, that wasn't one of their best matches. It was a great match in comparison to what else we had that night. But all in all, that could have even been better. I've seen them do better. And Sami Zayn, for the third week in a row, had me genuinely concerned about the well-being of his leg. He's either really kind of nursing something there and keeps kind of tweaking it, or he's a tremendous actor. As I've said in the other podcast, this guy really gets me to believe in him and believe that he's hurt, which means his performance is second to none. Sami Zayn is probably one of the best guys they have. He could wrestle anybody on that roster and make them look amazing, let alone his best friend Kevin Owens. If you got in the ring with your best friend, you're going to have ultimate trust. You're going to know that you're going to tear it down. Just look at Triple H and Shawn Michaels. When Shawn Michaels came back after his injury, who did he get in the ring with? His best friend. Because he knew that he'd be safe. And that SummerSlam match between the two of them is one of the greatest matches Shawn Michaels has ever had. It was an amazing match. And they did crazy things. He was jumping off the turnbuckles, going through tables with Triple H, everything. And he had ultimate trust. And that's what Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have with each other. And that's why their stuff comes out so great. But, unfortunately, it was the main event of a very lackluster, very lazy, very sloppily produced Monday Night Raw. Raw has its moments every time. It came out good. Like, the first 20 minutes were good with the whole Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Stephanie and Mick, and the whole interaction in the beginning. But then, after Jericho and Seth Rollins, there whole show just tanked. It just went straight downhill from there. You know, the first match we had Charlotte and Bayley go at it, and Bayley get a nice clean win. So what's the point of seeing them fight now? And you had that happen knowing that Sasha Banks was coming back. So what was the point of Bayley's win? There should have been some kind of trickery, some kind of heel tactics for Charlotte to pull out the win over Bayley, cheat to win the way a Flair would, not use Dana Brooke, but use her own brain, because she's a Flair, damn it. And she should be doing these things to get herself over and to get this storyline moving, but they're not writing it that way, so I can't fault Charlotte. They're telling her, well, this is what we're going to do tonight, and then they go out there, and they barely pull it off, but the end result doesn't make sense. Why did Bayley win that match if she was not going to be the next number one contender, or the next person to fight for the title? So now Sasha's probably going to win the title back at the Clash of the Champions. And if she doesn't, then I could see them bringing in Bayley and doing the challenging of the three of them for the title, for the women's title. But it's being done so badly that I can't wrap my head around what the future's going to be, or what direction they're trying to go. It's just all like befuddled into this big mess, and it just doesn't make much sense. The match wasn't bad, but it wasn't special. There was nothing special about it, except when Charlotte got Dana Brooke in the mush with her little elbow, which you can clearly see she kind of did on purpose because it had to happen. There wasn't very much of an accidental element to it. It looked very intentional. And then for that to happen, and then have Dana Brooke come out later and still trying to defend Charlotte against Sasha Banks and all this other, it was just, what are you just doing? And then you had the 3 squash matches, like we mentioned before. Raw was terrible. SmackDown was just as bad. There wasn't even any good wrestling on SmackDown because they didn't give us time. All they gave us was commercials. 7 commercial breaks, all of which lasted about 4 minutes, in the span of like an hour and a half TV time. Are you kidding me? I don't tune into wrestling to watch commercials. I tune into wrestling to watch wrestling. And what you give me is entrances and bad interview segments and the 6 women in the ring for the 100th time since the brand split. We've seen all 6 of these girls in the ring at every damn SmackDown since the brand split. Like, can we have them fight one-on-one, please? And now we still have to have the 6-pack challenge, and Nikki Bella's going to win. And I have no problem with that. My problem's going to come when Carmella is the one to beat Nikki Bella over Becky Lynch, because Nikki Bella's going to be good. Becky Lynch is good. Carmella's the bad girl. They have this thing going, so after Nikki wins the belt, Carmella's obviously going to be the one to challenge her and step up, because she's been the one attacking Nikki Bella week after week. In the only storyline that's actually progressing. I mean, and then Becky and Natalya will probably continue their little thing, but there's nothing really going on, because right now it's always been the 6 of them. We have not seen any, I think, real one-on-one matches with these girls that mean anything. And that's my problem with the SmackDown's women's division. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to let this pay-per-view roll on Sunday, and I'm going to be very positive and hope that after this is done, now they're going to have a sufficient amount of time to the next pay-per-view event that they can actually start to build, maybe even build off of what just happened, unlike what they're doing with The Miz and Daniel Bryan. They just killed that whole thing because they don't want the fans getting behind a movement to put Daniel Bryan back into the ring. So they're not even pretty much allowed to even talk about each other on camera anymore. And everything that The Miz did on Talking Smack and that tremendous promo he did is just all going to waste. It's all going to waste. They're not playing off it at all. You know how they're using it? They're using it as a clip in the advertisement for Talking Smack to get you to watch so that you believe this kind of thing happens all the time. And it doesn't. And the one time it does happen, you don't do anything with it, so why should I care to tune back in and watch all this great shit go down and then nothing goes on? Just 2 terrible shows this week, all topped off on the fact that I've been feeling kind of sick and I can't breathe And I don't know if it's from the wrestling or if it's really from the nasal decongestion. I don't know what to blame more for my disgusting feelings inside. And that being said, we're not going to go much further with the review because, as I've said, there really wasn't much. If you guys didn't see either show this week, and I know the people that are actually listening most likely did, what did anybody miss? Nothing. Nothing at all. I mean, the bright spot of the last 2 days, for me personally, has been Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho has had his game on point. He is funny as hell. I can't say enough about him and Kevin Owens being best friends. I hope they remain best friends forever. Their chemistry is great. And Chris Jericho saying that we are going to be a great Universal Champion. The whole thing between them, and Jericho correctly pointing out, as funny as it may be, that Kevin Owens is now the longest reigning Universal Champion. Kevin Owens, without missing a beat, interjects 7 days. 7 days. They're just so good. They play off each other so well. And I don't know if it's because they're both Canadian or if they're just both genius performers. I cannot wait to see Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens every single Monday night. They're the one reason why I'm tuning in, let alone now that KO is the champ on Raw over there. It's my favorite part of the night. But, it's hard to sit through 3 hours of garbage when you're given, about 20 minutes of enjoyment. 25 minutes in the beginning, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes towards the end during the Sami Zayn match. If you would have stopped going to commercial, I could have actually got more emotionally invested in the match. But that didn't happen here, because every time I started to feel like, oh, wow, yeah, they're getting into it, they're going to do it. And then it was like, oh, when Raw returns. And I'm like, come on. And now another 2-3 minutes of action that we're not seeing is happening live over there in Kansas City and Nebraska, respectively, for SmackDown. But we, at home, the majority of the audience that tunes in every single week, we're missing all the action because they want us to buy shit. And they want us to watch these commercials. And how many times do I have to see fucking Chris Chrisley? Seriously. Chrisley Knows Best. Who cares about Chrisley Knows Best? If you're going to watch that show, and you even know who these fools are, you're going to watch that show. You don't need to put that show at the beginning and end of every commercial break that you take during Monday Night Raw. There is no correlation between the Chrisley show and a wrestling show, other than the fact that they share the network. And you're overly hyping these shows that have their own core audience. But do you see wrestling commercials while you're watching the Chrisleys? I doubt it. I doubt you see many commercials for Raw unless you're actually watching Raw or SmackDown or vice versa. It's getting to be a little too much. I can't take it. And all the promoting. It's all it is. It's like 2 hours of promotion and there's no more wrestling. Daniel Bryan, in the beginning of the SmackDown show, the segment should have been about the Women's Championship, but he made it about Total Bellas. He had to get the plug in there. And I don't complain much about Daniel Bryan, because I don't believe that was honestly his choice, because he does it with kind of this smugness as if, oh, I'm doing this because I have to. But we're here, we're gathered in the middle of the ring to talk about the Women's Championship again, and do this thing again. But before we do that, because this is more important, let me support my wife and my sister-in-law and John Cena and my show, Total Bellas. Come on, it's too much shilling. I don't need you to tell me what to watch. A wrestling fan that likes reality TV is going to watch that show. You don't have to sell it. It already sold itself when you showed it to the Total Divas audience at the end of last season. Anybody who watched the end of Total Divas was treated to a sneak peek of the new show, Total Bellas. If you like Total Divas, you're going to like Total Bellas. That's where your audience is. I understand the need to promote it, and I don't see why it has to be such a constant thing, and why it has to be intertwined with something as important, that should be as important as the woman's title. It's just getting out of control. AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose were in the ring at the end for what? 5 minutes? 5 minutes, and what did he do? He gave him a bowling trophy. Say, yeah, you're not going to get this trophy on my shoulder, but I'll give you this one because, I won this 1,000 years ago and I don't need it anymore. Said, you can wrestle all you want, I'm coming in for a fight. And that's what just as the interview started to get good, we're going off the air. They dropped the microphone, they're standing face to face, he's got the bowling trophy. And that's it. That's how you leave us going into Backlash. That's how you leave us leading into the first brand exclusive pay-per-view you're going to throw. What is there on this card? 5 matches? A 3-hour pay-per-view, we got 5 matches? I don't know. I'm not going to get too down on it. I'm just going to hope for the best, as we always do. Power of positivity, like I like to say. And I think that's going to do it, because if I get any more riled up, I might start getting sick again. So, this week, ladies and gentlemen, just that's gonna sum it up. That's the only thing. Well, actually, there is maybe 2 other sounds that sum up. This one is for SmackDown, and this one is for Raw. And that's it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show, because inside, I feel like that when I watch these fucking wrestling shows. Let's all hope for the best. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, to hit that thumbs up. If you're listening live on Podbean, don't forget to check us out on YouTube. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. I need to get my subscribers up. I need to get my likes up so we can make some more cash. And we can get this show to a much better production value. And maybe at some point you get to see my beautiful face on the screen. And hopefully it's not covered in snot and sounding like a raspy country music singer. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget, tweet at me, Nick Nightmare on Twitter. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you want to talk about, what you want me to talk about. It's always been a pleasure. Have a great one, you guys.